Legend Total War here, and today we've got a Rating Your Doomstack video covering a Heralds of Ariel hero stack, but it's not about each individual hero, but what followers they actually have attached to them. So each of them has a follower that is reducing enemy leadership in the local area. So all of these armies here have their leadership reduced to absolute 0. Even the treemen, which have a natural high leadership, it's all reduced to 0 here. Now the thing is, when you jump onto the battlefield, they're not just going to immediately rout, because if it's on very hard battle difficulty, which this is on, they get an immediate +10. All this does is, on the campaign, drop them down to 0. But let's jump into the battle here and see how it performs. On auto resolve, it says it's going to win, but let's see how it actually performs on very hard battle difficulty, which if we just briefly show here, that's the difficulty. Let's jump in here and test it out. Now, there are other races that can do this. For example, the Beastman is the most notable one. The Fear of Nurglestink trait on all of their heroes. The Vampire Accounts has got it with the Dread Incarnate. Same thing with the Vampire Coast. This is that Vampire Accounts can increase their capacity for heroes a lot quicker. And the Lizard Men, they could also do it quite easily. All of their heroes have access to the Pompous trait, which gives -4 leadership in the local area. The thing is, these heroes don't even have to be attached into the army, they just have to be in the local area. So, now what works well with other races, especially the Beastmen, is the Lore of Death and the Lore of Shadow magic being used simultaneously. So you use the Withering overcasted, and then you also use Doom and Darkness overcasted. So the Withering reduces leadership by 8, and then the Doom of Darkness does it by 16. So you got -24 leadership. So that'll take off the battle difficulty bonus straight away. But because we don't have access to the Lore of Death, all we've got is Shadow. So we'll see how it goes. So going up against the Wood Elves here, they're a pretty frightening force, even when playing as Wood Elves. Thing is to note here, Way Stalkers are not great on the battlefield, which is usually why I don't really hire them that much anymore when playing as with Wood Elves. But I mean, there's no leadership to worry about. Barely any leadership. Let's see how we go. If they've got immunities to psychology, that's going to hurt a little bit, because it would be good to put down fear on them. It just depends on what's coming in. Obviously, dragons aren't going to be affected by it, but we'll just see. I'm just going to go park near their reinforcements and try and take them out straight away. Keep the flying units out of it for now. Yeah, look at that. They just like immediately rout, because they do have some leadership. Because you can only get rid of the entirety of their base value. You can't get rid of any more than that. So what we want to do is get them in a big clump, and then I'll bring in the Shadow Wizard and overcast the Withering. Oh god, just get them off the battlefield. That's how you make this work. Of course, these guys here probably have it as well. But they can't overcast it. What other abilities do we have here that can reduce leadership? Oh! Blight of... There we go, that's good. That's really good in conjunction with this. That's essentially, Doom and Darkness. Bye-bye. And then once you've got a couple of them routing, you get a huge chain rout going. Because they're, you know, affected by others' leadership. So that's a good ability to have. So I think he chose the right trait to make this work here. Look at that, just straight away, leave the battlefield. Treeman, straight away, leaving the battlefield. Do we have anything else that can lower leadership? See, I gotta get familiar with their army. I think that's about it. Of course, another thing that you can do is just play a normal battle difficulty. That way they don't get that extra 10. As soon as they see you, they'll run away. Look at this. Yeah, I mean, I've seen this happen before, so I can't be, like, too surprised by it. But, yeah, good combination there with the Withering and the Blight of Terrors. Of course, I can only do that once more. Sorry, twice more. You get 3 uses of it. Anyway, most of their reinforcements are gone now. I think the only real sort of issue with this kind of army is that getting the capacity for this many heroes is a little bit tricky with Wood Elves, since you can't do it with minor settlements, as in non-tree settlements. And, you know, you need a full tree in order to just get one Waystalker. But that being said, Waystalkers currently just have not that much use. So making a zero leadership army with them is quite viable, because I don't really know what else you'd do with them. Having just one captain in the army is a good idea, I think. Okay, we want to get ready to pop it there. Just wait till they get in there. Keep our flying units away from the dragon, obviously. Alright, let's get it. Oh, quickly, let's pop it down before it's all over. There's the Blight of Terrors coming in. And a bit of that. And that's probably the army losses right there. So we'll go on to the campaign map, and I'll show exactly how he's done this. Yeah, he doesn't need me to send the save file back, so I don't need to heal them up. But yeah, going up against that much force with pretty much any Doom stack that you can build is going to outright lose. Like, let's just go through some Doom stacks, right? Necrofex Colossus Doom stack would not win against this. Nope, would lose. Stegodon Doom stack probably would lose. Rattling Gun Missile Team, Weapons Team Army probably would lose. Unless you know, ambush them one at a time. Steam Tank Doom stack probably would lose. War Mammoth Doom stack probably would lose. Shaggoth Doom stack probably would lose. Let's face it, the only thing that's going to beat that much force is dropping their leadership down to 0. Even if you use like spellcasting cheese, like having somebody fly around spellcasting, they're probably still going to lose, because it's really difficult to cast all of those spells on like a bunch of single entities. It just isn't going to do anything. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, there we get to keep them all, so it's kind of good that we didn't kill them. Alright, so let's go through and show how we were able to drop that leadership down so much. So this guy here, Blight of Terrors. So straight away, enemy leadership -5, and then of course the active ability. You want as many of those active abilities that can drop leadership down further on the battle map when you're actually there. Not just rely on -5 local enemy armies. -5 leadership, because yeah, they're going to come in, they're going to have other bonuses that you can't get rid of. Like I said, you can't get their leadership into the negative so that they just immediately leave the battlefield. This is also why it's not great against undead, because if you get their leadership lower than 0, they don't rout, they just start crumbling. So sure, you can get their armies to crumble almost immediately, but crumbling damage isn't really a whole lot. You want them to disintegrate. Okay, so the other follower that they need to get, which one is it? I can't remember. It's not Young Stag. Maybe it doesn't. Oh, here it is, Forest Spirit. So providing magic resistance +5% and enemy leadership -5. Now you'll get a bunch of those throughout the campaign just by fighting battles. So it's not an uncommon item to get. If you're playing Wood Elves and just look at your followers, if you're at around turn 100, you've probably got a heap of them. So don't worry about any specific conditions. Just play the campaign and you'll get them. And so yeah, he's got each of them with a Forest Spirit. So that means so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, and then this guy's got the trait, so 90 leadership has been stripped away, and that's assuming there isn't anything else. So if you sack a bunch of settlements, so no, he hasn't got it. Yeah, I think if you sack or raise a bunch of settlements, you can get some additional leadership stuff, but it doesn't have that one. Not that he really needs anyway. So even if he walks up to dwarf armies, they're probably going to have close to 0 leadership, with the exception of like 9 experienced Iron Breakers. But yeah, that's extremely powerful. yeah, my recommendation for if you were going to do this is use the Waystalkers, because let's have a quick look here. Waystalkers are increased capacity at tier 4. You only get +1. So you get 1 base, and then you can increase it with each tree settlement that you have, which, you know, there's a limit to how many you can get, basically. So if you go through it, if you were to get every single tree settlement, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, unless I'm forgetting something, which I could be. Did I forget any of them? No. So yeah, you would have, you essentially have 11 Waystalkers at the end of your campaign, if you got everything. So if I have a look here, yeah, so he's got 11 there. So if we go through all of his provinces, they should, if I can recruit them, it means he's done it. Yeah, he's done it everywhere. Okay, so yeah, it's just about at his max capacity. And the reason why you go with Waystalkers is because they don't really have much utility anymore. One of their main purposes that they used to have was they used to increase the range of all of your missile units in your army, but since they can't do that anymore, they don't really serve a whole lot of purpose, apart from just maintaining public order and maybe doing some agent actions. Other ones to use, I wouldn't put too many wizards in your army. You're definitely going to want a light wizard, and life wizard and a shadow wizard. That's a good call there. I think you did the right thing, because you can increase your wizard capacity, I think, by 2. Is that correct? With each of them? No, just by 1 with that. Yeah, hero capacity +1. So you're going to want to make sure each of your armies has at least 1 spell slinger, because they are very useful. Even if you are using a spell weaver as a lord, spell slingers are also very useful. I think you can get 2. And he's named them as well. You can get 2 branch wraiths from each of the building that provides that. Yeah, so you can essentially end up with, what, 22 branch wraiths. But yeah, you can't get to 100. So yeah, making 1 full stack with just branch wraiths, that could certainly work if you were going to do this.
These are dark times.
And, you know, their upkeep cost is lower than Treemen. And they can get Blights of Terrors as well. So that guy had it as well, but he doesn't get the -5 leadership. So the Blight of Terrors there, -16 leadership. Yeah. So that could work out really well for that. But yeah, it doesn't look like they're capable of overcasting it, which is what you really want to do with the Withering. They don't have any other spells here that could lower leadership, I don't think. But yeah, you could also essentially get, I think, 11 Glade Captains. Yep, 11 of those. But you want to have 1 in each of your armies. So putting a variety in your army here, if you're going to do this, is absolutely essential. And then just, you don't need to have the whole army as heroes. Just putting in 3, whatever. They didn't need to be Treemen, but that was probably to make it as strong as possible. That makes sense. So yeah, I would say, having a look over this, he's pretty much made it about as perfect as he could for doing this. He's dumped in all of his Waystalkers, which I totally agree with doing that. He got the right trait on this one. He's got the right traits on this. I don't think they all need to have it. I mean, I only needed to use that twice. I didn't even know this one here had it. And putting in a few branch rates, put in the exact right number of spell slingers, the exact right number of Glade Captains. He made this particular Doomstack perfect. I cannot fault it. So therefore, considering it's less than turn 100, this isn't a difficult army to build. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10, because it'll beat pretty much anything apart from an unbreakable army. But the thing is, the only unbreakable units that you really have to worry about is like a Slayer spam. And let's say you were going up against Slayer spam, which it can happen, we've seen it. You could use your Dwellers Below to thin them out like crazy. You can outrun them with Waystalkers and just shoot them like crazy and just hide everyone else. So even if you do go up against a completely unbreakable army, you can still beat it. And don't forget, those really unbreakable armies are very rare to go up against. So yeah, it's not super inconvenient. You can get the hero capacity if you put in a variety of heroes. I gotta give it a 10 out of 10. So yeah, thanks for sending this in. Yeah, this could help out in your future Wood Elf campaigns, those of you who are going to do that. So yeah, just look for this follow here, the Forest Spirit, and do a hero spam army. You're not going to be able to build like 20 of these armies, but then again, Wood Elves don't build 20 armies in general. But this will be cheaper than a Treeman army. But the thing is, though, I don't think it's necessarily cheaper than a Hawk... Let me just check, what's it called? Hawk Rider Doomstack. So their cost is 343. It's not too far off. And a Hawk Rider Doomstack probably would have lost against that as well, because it just would have run out of ammunition. There's just so much being sent at us. So yeah, that was really good. And it will work really well for the other Wood Elf factions as well, because it's not limited to Heralds of Ariel. Anyway, that's the end of this one here, guys. Really appreciate this guy sending this one in. I couldn't fault the way that he built it. He covered all of his bases. I really can't think of any way to actually improve on it. You know, getting it above 100 leadership in the local area to minus off, I think is unnecessary. Anything that has that much leadership, it's fine. You'd be able to break it when you break everything else in the army. Anyway, that's the end of this one. Appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next time, fuckers. Bye.